grandmother, she was a hypochondriacal Christian Scientist. So,
which is a complicated situation.
Yes, if Mary Baker Eddy didn't work, she'd pop a phenobarbital. They were in the medicine cabinet, and there were so many of them that when you opened the medicine cabinet, they'd fall into the sink.
You say she wore a copy of the Christian Science Monitor tied around her waist so her insides wouldn't fall out.
That's what she would say. She would roll it up like it was a newspaper, stick it against her stomach, and then tie a string around her stomach very hard. And I'd say, "Why are you doing that, Nanny?" And she said, "So my insides won't fall out." It frightened me when she had her spells. She was always feeling her pulse and having her heart skip beats, she would say. And if anything had happened to her, I think I would have died myself. I used to pray if she was sick, God, take me first, you know.
Why was your nanny and not your parents your primary caretaker?
My first memory is being in Texas, and because that's where I was born. And my mother and my dad decided that Hollywood would be the place to make their fortune. And so they came out to California and left me with Nanny, who was my mother's mother. And then they hit the skids and divorced. And so then Mama was trying to get work, but she was freelancing, so there was no money really coming in. But my grandmother insisted that we join her in Hollywood. And then we moved into this one room in the building that Mama lived in. And Mama lived down the hall, and Nanny and I put down our roots. And I was 7, and I lived in that one room till I was 21.
Did you see much of your father while you were growing up?
I saw him irregularly. See, Daddy drank, but he was kind. He was a drunk Jimmy Stewart. It's the way I've always described Daddy. But when I was about 10, he went on the wagon. His mother, my paternal grandmother, was ill, and she made him promise not to drink. And he was living with her. So he didn't, and he would come and pick me up every weekend, and we would get on the streetcar, then transfer to the bus and go to the beach. They lived out in Santa Monica. And I had a dad. And when I looked in his eyes, he was there. He was home. And I was enamored of him. And she died. And the day of the funeral, he showed up at the little room where Nanny and I lived, and he was weaving. That's the most angry and the most disappointed I think I have ever been in my life. When I really started to do well and started to get kind of a name for myself, Nanny, she had a mild heart attack. I was in New York doing the Gary Moore show. She was doing fine, recuperating. My aunt went to visit her in the hospital a day or two before she was going to be released. And my aunt sees a line of people lined up to my grandmother's door in the hospital in various costumes. And there was a man standing there playing a harmonica, going, and a little girl, his daughter, in a tutu, doing a toe tap and twirling a baton, and ended up in splits. And my grandmother said, "Thank you very much. I'll tell Carol about you. Send in the next one."
So she was big in talent scout.
"Mother, what are you doing?" And my grandmother said, "Well, I was bored."